Hi, I'm Joanne. Let me discuss the fingerprint classification. In our country, we use the Henry Galton's FBI system with modification and extension. Then, according to him, there are 6 classifications of fingerprints: the primary, the secondary, the subsecondary, the final, and the major and the key classification. Here is the classification formula: the primary, secondary, subsecondary, final, major, and key classification. This is a classification line. In order to better understand this, let us use the sample fingerprint card, and this sample is my own fingerprint. This is a right and left hand. The upper portion of the classification line is referred to as the numerator, which is visible by 2 and considered as an even number. And the lower portion of the classification line is referred to as the denominator, which is divisible by 2. And this is an odd number. And now let's proceed to the primary classification. When we say primary classification focuses on the whorl pattern only. The symbols are WCDX. And Henry Galton's system designated the numerical value of a whorl pattern, which is 16, 16, 8, 8, 4, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1. And this is the classification line, the even and the odd. Let's first define the even. This is the even, 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 even. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. And odd number: 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. In order not to make it in 0, the sum total should be added by constant number 1 plus 1 is equals to 1 over 1. The primary classification is 1 over 1. The second one is the secondary classification. This classification is subdivided into 2, the capital letter and the small letter group. The capital letter group represented by 2 index finger appearing in the right index as a numerator and left index as a denominator. We should copy it in capital letter. Small letter group refers to 3 types of pattern only, namely the plain arc, tented arc, and radial loop, which is an art symbol. Note, when it is not included, put a dash symbol. Copy the capital letter group and U dash 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 R, small letter r, dash dash. The third one is the sub-secondary classification. This classification, considering the ridge count of the loops and ridge tracing of whorls pattern appearing on both right and left index, middle, and ring fingers. When we say ridge tracing, applied only on whorl pattern. When we see a whorl pattern, we can trace it, whether we can put it whether I for inner, M for meeting, O for outer. And when we say ridge counting applied only on loop pattern, and we can put it the sample ridge counting in index 1 to 9 inner, 10 or more outer, in the middle finger 1 to 10 inner, 11 and above outer, and in the ring finger 1 to 13 is inner, 14 and above is outer. And take note, when we see an arches shall be represented by a dash symbol. And as you can see, we see an arc. So we put it in a dash, and ulnar has 9 ridge count. It is an inner, and ring finger has 10 ridge count. It is also an inner. And in the left hand, radial has a 5 ridge count. It is an inner. And radial has a 4 ridge count and inner. And in the ring finger has a 7 ridge count. It is also an inner. The fourth one is the final classification. This classification is the ridge count on the loop pattern, either ulnar or radial loop, appearing in the both little finger. This. If an arches appears in the little finger, put a dash. And if the whorl appears, convert it in a loop pattern. As you can see, it is a loop pattern. So it is not hard. Ulnar in a little finger, it is an ulnar, has an 8 ridge count, and in the left hand or in the denominator has a 9 ridge count. So we just going to copy it. And now let's proceed to the major classification. This represents only on the thumb of each hand. Ridge count of the loop either small, medium, or large, and ridge tracing rather of the whorl pattern. We can put it in a inner, outer, or meeting. And in this, as you can see, this is a loop pattern. So we can use in a ridge count. Ridge count in 1 to 11 is a small, 1 to 16 is a medium, 17 and above is a large. 11 is a small, and 12 is a medium. And put it here. Small and medium. The last one is the key classification. Represents the ridge count of the right first loop appears, either a radial or an ulnar loop. We can start in the beginning with the right thumb going to the left little finger of the loop pattern. No matter where it was found, always write it at the right of the numerator. If the key has no loops, make a ridge count of a whorl appearing in the thumb. As you can see, we see a loop pattern, which is here in the thumb, in the right thumb. In the right thumb has a ridge count of 11. 11 is our key classification. So that is the final classification result of my own fingerprint pattern.